because first of all they were cut off from their motherland, and they couldn't connect with their people, and so their only hope was the colonialist religion or the master's religion. So they were so programmed. It was so deep, deep learning that is happening in the IT world. I'm telling you, it's not a new thing. It was old. Deep learning happened for the slaves. They learned the religion of the master so deeply that it was ingrained in their head completely. So even if they feel gay, you will find majority of them, they will go through a harder time to get to terms to accept themselves, because of they are hardwired. But in Africa, the black people in Africa are not so hardwired to religion. Why? Because they kept their language, they kept their cultures and traditions. So even though they accepted Christianity, they could only accept it when it was translated into their language. Other than that, if it was not translated, if there was no language to translate their religion, Africans would not, the black people would not accept Western culture. I mean, it's like today, even anything, it's the translatability. If it can be understood, then we can take it. So that is what happened to. That's why Trinidad and Tobago are special cases. Jamaica is a special case. America is a special case. Even Brazil, and Brazil have tried, because as I've said, the deeper you went to south, the deeper of America, like deep South America, the black people, they still kept their culture because they were not anglicized. But those in North America, they were thoroughly anglicized, they were thoroughly cut off from the black people, and they couldn't travel. A slave is not allowed to travel. I mean, it would have been nice if the blacks in North America could travel back to South America and visit in Brazil their relatives, but nope, that didn't happen. You're a slave and your freedom is denied in every aspect. And so the black people, so the North American black people are also different from the South American black people. And as I've said, they were more hardwired to religion, so they were made more homophobic. And that's why I respect any, you see, I respect everybody. But there's some you respect more, like George Orwell. We are all equal, but some are more equal than others. And I really applaud the black Americans, the ones in North America, for those who are out, LGBTQ. Oh, it's not easy, because the way religion was hardwired onto the slaves in North America, you don't want to mention. There are even churches, denominations that are wholly black, wholly black, fully black. They were started by black people. The African Methodist Episcopal and the Church of God in Christ, all of them, they were very purely black. So what that means is that they took up the master's religion, and they became the master. Yeah, they didn't need any white man to help them out. It happened in Africa, but in a different way, and I'll talk about that in another video. By the way, we've even opened another channel. It's called Rivers of Thought, Love of Fikir, and we're also talking about, but we talk about life generally, and philosophy and religion, because my weakness, when you have a weakness, you should positivize it, and I've positivized my weakness, and I like talking, I like discussing, I like giving knowledge. Actually, one of my dreams in life is I wish I live in a university. I would just live in a university, lecture and talk, and then after that go and make love with my guy or a guy I meet, because I enjoy that. It's good. It's good to relax also once in a while, you know, in bed. So anyway, that would be my life, because as I said, I'm going to tell you about my story. And I was a very booky person. I loved reading. And it, in fact, because people knew me as LGBT in the past, even though those terms didn't exist those days, it made me go down and read. So I was now spending most of my time reading. And that's how I ended up being a bookworm, even though I was in the LGBT world. So now when I came out to the LGBT world, I had to become very social, because, you know, reading makes you antisocial. You don't spend time with people, you don't connect with people. But I value the LGBT community. It made me learn to come out and talk and connect with people, and know that life is also about connection. So anyway, I'll talk about that in the other video about myself, audio-visual autobiography. So as we conclude about Trinidad and Tobago, as I've said, the Trinidad and Tobago, because of the religious history, there will be backlash to what has happened, the decriminalization. But that should not alarm the LGBTQ community in Trinidad and Tobago. Just go on. The law has gone through in your favor. Yes, there will be backlashes. Yes, it doesn't mean everybody will love you. No, it doesn't mean that. What it means, the state is not against you. And that's the most important thing. Because if the state is your enemy or attacking you, then you are doomed. You're living a doomed life. And that's what many LGBT people live. They live a life of doom and gloom because the state doesn't recognize them. You know, a friend of mine did a book, The Invisible Ones, and he's right. It was the LGBT people are invisible. But the problem of invisibility is that when you go through issues, you're invisible, so we can't help you. When you need a job, you're invisible, so you won't get one. When you're sick, you can't go to the hospital and explain that, you know, we were having fun with my boyfriend, and like, what? With what? Excuse me? Are you saying that you are, get out, it's abomination. You know, can you go to a church hospital? Because in Africa, we have very many church hospitals. And then you say that, you see, you can't. So because you're invisible, you know, and if you mention it, you put yourself in trouble. You know, there are very many stories I have about, you know, weird things. Another lady, she complained. I liked the story. And she said, you know, my son, why did he get into this thing? Because now he has anal cancer. And I was like, I wish he knew. It's not about getting into that thing. Because things like cancer, it's genetic. It's genetic. If you're predisposed to get it, you'll get it. Yes. And of course, hospitals, you know, they would say that, you know, they do this. No, just understand, gay people are there. Gay sex is there. And they're STDs. They affect everybody who has sex, whether it's gay or not. So, but you cannot take care of people in a country if you are criminalizing them. It's lunatic. It's lunacy that you are saying you want to help rid a country of STDs, STIs, HIV, and you don't even criminalize them. You're just going to kill the country because they will go underground, they will do whatever they want to do, and what you are trying to stop is going to continue because it's invisible. So it's people need to think and just understand that no, it's wise to decriminalize gay sex so that you let people live their lives. And I'll also talk about this in the economic sense, because there are very many people, like now what has happened in Trinidad and Tobago. How do you evict a tenant who is paying you rent? You're paying, rent, and this guy is evicting you because you're gay. It's so... Sometimes I just look at things and I just say, some people need a lesson. They need a very big lesson in the classroom. And so the landlords, does he want money or he's just worried about sex? Yes. So we're going to do the last part of this Trinidad and Tobago. It's big. It's a very big video. I had to do it because of the country itself. It is a black world. So now we've talked about the colonization aspect. The fact that colonized people tend to carry more wounds and more weight, homophobic weight, and they are more predisposed to homophobia than non-colonized people. That's why Europeans are not so homophobic. It's because they were not colonized. They were not conquered in their brain. The only thing they needed to deal with was the cultural norm. That's the only thing they had to break away from. But in Africa, or black people, or colonized people, they have to deal with their culture, then they have to deal with their religion, then they have to deal with the colonized thinking, they have to deal with. So there are so many walls to break. And that's why Africa is already LGBTQ. It's only going to take time to finally realize, to get to where the West is, because the West is already in the wonderland. They can marry, they can even divorce, they can do what. But in Africa and the third world, or the global south, it's not that easy. I mean, you can't just go in and start saying we want gay marriage and it's given tomorrow. It's impossible. I mean, first of all, they'll come for you and say, who is this guy? And then next thing you know, you are arrested. Next thing you know, you go through what? I mean, Africa is a very interesting place. And we'll finish up this Trinidad and Tobago thing to recap the effect of colonization on the mind and the nature of, and then the steps. We're going to look at the steps of LGBT freedom.